Hello, my name is Alex Sonnenthal, Director of Education for EventsAIR, and it is my pleasure to present to you our EventsAIR version 7.2 release video. We've added some outstanding new functionality to this release, and I know you will be quite excited to see what's new in version 7.2. So let's jump right in and take a look. First, I'd like to show you interactive site styles. This exciting update now gives you 3 different themes or layouts for your interactive sites. So I'm going to choose one of my sample sites here, and I'm going to show you the 3 different styles. You go to Details, you go to Style, and you'll see that now under Theme there's 3. There's Classic, Panel, and Curved. Now Classic is just the way it always has been. I'm going to bring it up here, and it looks just the way it always has, and it works exactly the same way. No worries there. But now we have 2 new ones. We have Panel, okay, and you got a nice display there, and I'm going to go ahead and save that. But before I do want to mention that you have the Simple option, which lets you choose a highlight color and a highlight text color, or you can go choose brand and let all the colors from the fonts drive from the brand. Those are the 2 settings you have. I'm going to hit Save right here, and then I'm going to go and I'm going to update the sample site. There we go. You can see that we're in a 2-column format, and it looks has some nice separator bars and a kind of a fresh, clean style. It'll either have a drop-down indicator right there, or when you click here, you'll see the name will shrink and you can choose your entries just like that. So I'm going to fill in some data there just to get it started, and I'm going to move forward. Okay, now notice here, folks, this is really cool. Now we have a progress bar that automatically populates across. So when you go ahead and make your selections, just like that, you can see it moves across, and you keep on with your registration, and it'll progress bar all the way across to the completion of your registration. And let me show you curves, because that also is a very attractive format. I'm going to click here and go back into our attendee registration, and I'm going to choose the theme Curves. Okay, and from panel to curves, it's going to have the same general functionality. It's just going to give you some different colors. Some different elements here. Of course, you can change any of the colors, and it's got a more of a rounded look and feel to it, right? So I'm going to go ahead and hit Save, and I'm going to go ahead and refresh that sample site. Okay. So here's curves, okay, and you got these nice little designer, these little elements here. You got all the standard, other items, but you can see it's got a nice curved layout and design to it, and it looks very attractive. And it has the progress bar across the top as well. So this is a fantastic way of just expanding the options you have for displaying your interactive sites. It has the progress bar. You have some color control in a simple fashion or through the brand editor, and it just really adds a element of distinction and style that I know you will really like. The next new functionality I like to talk about is live stream integration. What live streaming is, of course, is the ability for you to display any or all of your sessions at your conferences or events out through the internet and to be viewed on a computer remotely. Live streaming is a great way to expand your conference offerings, and we use right now Zoom meetings as the platform that we support. We're going to be supporting additional platforms moving forward, such as WebEx or GoToMeeting, GoToWebinar, and it's very straightforward to set it up and use it. What you do want to think about, however, is how you plan to use this, because you have the ability of selling or monetizing your registrations, if that's your business model, where you can have different registration categories to support live streaming and other registration categories, of course, that would not. So it's got a lot of capabilities and features, and let me walk you through the setup very quickly to show you what it's about. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Application Setup, and it's going to be an external connection, just like gateways for payment gateways or text messaging or anything like that. And if you scroll down here, you'll see that we have session live streaming, and we've already turned on one account through our Zoom account. It's pretty straightforward. You just come in here and you choose which platform. Right now it would be Zoom, and then you fill in the very basic information that that platform requires, and each of the platforms may have slightly different requirements. But once you set this up, it is set up and you don't need to return to it. Okay, you have your platform defined. And then the next step you're going to want to think about is, are you going to sell registrations or have registration types that offer live streaming, or we're going to call this virtual meetings. Okay, so if you come here, and I'm going to go to our setup, and I'm going to show you very quickly, that we can have different types of registrations. So if you choose to offer this on an early registration, you'll see that all of the types now have a new option called virtual attendee. This is just one of the ways that you can designate attendees to access live streaming. There will be others that I'm going to show you in a moment. But if you want to do it through the registration process, there's two different settings surrounding virtual attendees. I'm going to show you those next. Okay, so what we're going to do here is now everything really does surround and use your presentations as how you're going to deliver your virtual meetings. So here I have a sample site, but before you get into your sessions, you're going to go into your preferences, and just for your event now, you're going to turn on live streaming platform. Here you choose the platform, and then you choose the time zone that you're going to be presenting from. This is very important to do. Okay, so you're going to choose your platform, your time zone. It's going to always match, by the way, the event settings for your event, because you really want to make sure these are in line with each other. Then you're going to choose the account through your Zoom platform, in this case, that has the webinar functionality attached to it. Okay, so once you have those preferences set, you're pretty much done, and now you're going to think about your presentations. So here I'm going to choose one of our presentations, Journey to the Wild, and you'll see that there's a live streaming tab enabled. You click on that, and you can enable live streaming. And this is where the magic happens. This is where you have 4 different choices on how you want to deliver live streaming. One is through all virtual attendees, that's every registration, or you can say all virtual attendees who have registered for a Journey to the Wild online during interactive registration. Or you can totally bypass that and just target students, or target VIPs, or target, any other a particular group of attendees from a region, for example. Or you can just say all attendees. So in this case here, I'm just going to say virtual attendees who have registered for this session. Okay, and I'm going to hit save. And then once you have that, that session is now enabled for live streaming. So the third part of this equation is, how do your instructors manage the live stream process? And it's a very straightforward thing. Now, what you don't want ever, of course, is if you have 1, 3, 5, 20 instructors or presenters, is giving them access to your platform, whether it's Zoom or whatever it's going to be, because that's got a lot of management and it's got things that may have nothing to do with your event, and you don't want them to have access. So we have created a live stream platform, okay? And what this platform here is it's a platform, a portal where your instructors can come and they can view what's upcoming, what's starting within the hour, or live now, and they can start their presentations right from here, and it'll download the correct software and get it rolling within the platform perfectly. It also lets them copy login details for different attendees, and it has lots of ways of controlling the overall process. So since I've enabled it, let's go ahead and hit apply. Okay, and you'll see now that it has enabled a Journey to the Wild, and you have the ability of viewing a list of invitees. They can cancel it. If they scroll down, you can, if they drop into this, they'll actually see any attendees that have been signed up, and they can also cancel. And it's just a good way to see what's happening. And then under Starting Soon, any sessions that are starting within the hour, they'll be able to see what's coming up, and then they can actually start a session from the Starting Soon tab. And Live Now, of course, shows all sessions that are live currently. You have an update feature, which is quite nice, because if you have some last-minute additions, the system may, I think, is every 30 minutes or so, it's going to be rolling through and updating. But if you have some last-minute additions or changes, you can force an update immediately. So this is where it all happens. I could go into Zoom, but I'm not going to, but it automatically feeds into your platform, whether it's Zoom or a different platform in the future, and it actually just serves as a conduit for making all this happen. So again, Once all is happening and then when that session begins, you start it through the live stream platform. It is then being pushed out to everyone who is logged in this case to Zoom webinars, and they can view the presentation in real time just as easily as anything else. The next new enhancement to EventsAIR 7.2 that I want to share with you is in addition to how we handle function guest signup. So up until today, this version, when you signed up, you purchased a spouse or a guest ticket for a different function like a gala dinner or anything. You had two choices. You could just purchase the ticket and not record any details, or you could purchase the ticket and record name, email address, phone number, and have it stored in the primary contacts record. And that was really it. But today, 7.2, you have the ability to now add and create a brand new contact record based on that function enrollment online. So let me show you the setup and how it operates. Actually, let me show you how it operates first. Okay, so what we do here is I'm going to open up a registration form. Okay, and we have a contact here, Wendy Hills, and she's either returning or during her initial registration, doesn't really matter. She's already registered, but we're going to go ahead and she's going to purchase a guest ticket to the closing gala dinner right there. So we're going to click on the spouse ticket and we're going to just type in a few details here. Mr. John Hills, GTC group, and position. You don't have to fill all this out, but we'll fill it in there and we'll go ahead and move forward. Okay, so it goes to the summary, agree, and we'll just do pay later. Okay, just like that, and we'll submit it. So we've done that, and what happens now if you set it up in EventsAIR to do so, this is Wendy Hills, right? We're going to refresh it. And you're going to see now that there is a spouse ticket to the gala dinner. But more importantly, and I'm just going to go to the searcher just to show it to you this way. I'm going to go ahead and do a brand new search and go to the very last record, and you'll see now that we've created a contact record for John Hills. Okay, and you'll see that his function ticket is green and italicized because there's a new payment category called guest of, and this links the two together. It's similar to linking for groups, but this is really meant for couples or people who are bringing a spouse or guest. And you can see here there's the primary contacts record, and you can now jump back and forth. And if you go to Wendy's record in the guest tab, you'll see both pieces of data are filled in. Scroll to the left and you'll see you can now jump and link right back to John Hills' record. And the reason this is very useful is, of course, you can now work with Mr. Hills directly. Okay, you can register them for something. You can collect additional details such as phone numbers or dietary issues. You have a complete contact record now to Mr. Hills, who is linked as a spouse or a guest ticket via this function to Wendy Hills. So let's show you how that is all set up. It's very straightforward. So I'm going to come here to EventsAIR. Okay, here we are in EventsAIR, and I'm going to go show you the setup. So what happens here is when you're doing this type of functionality, it's basically in the function record, and there's the closing gala. You scroll down and you see now there's guest name options. Do not need to be recorded. Record the details only, which means it goes into the same record, or you can create match guest contact record. So it'll create a new contact record, and the match happens as if there's already a record for John Hills, and she's purchasing, his wife is purchasing an additional function. It'll search and match for an existing record and add the new function to that record. So you won't get duplicate John Hill records. So that's basically all you have to do to set it up there. And in online registration in the interactive site builder, it's pretty straightforward as well. We're going to come here to the builder, and we're going to go here to the closing gala dinner component. You expand that and you have several settings. You go to the details tab, which manages the entire closing gala dinner settings. You click on that and you can see that some of this has already been there, but it's been expanded. Record guest names, and you can automatically match to existing contact records, which is useful to do. You can change the labels for the various, or choose to turn them on or turn them off, the different options to collect the data. You can also allow guest names to be confirmed at a later date, which means Mrs. Hill could actually put TBD and then come back later to add the guest name. When you do that, it won't create the guest record until she actually puts in the details for her guest. And then you also have, this is very nice, the ability to send a confirmation email, whether it's a merge or just written on the fly, to the guest, to John Hill, upon registration of this function ticket. So it's got a lot of useful functionality around it, and it's really a great new addition to the functionality surrounding guest and guest functions and additional contact records. The next thing I want to share with you is the group allocation portal. This is a new portal for group contacts to easily manage all the aspects of their group inventory and bringing in group members and managing those group members. And it's all in one location, and it's a really nice and functional tool. So let's just walk through the scenario, and I just will show you what it's all about. Here we have a group contact, Kay Bay from Franklin Simon, and she's going to bring in some group members. And what she's going to do is, what she has done already, is she has purchased group inventory from you, the group organizer, the meeting, the event manager. And she has purchased 9 regular registrations. She's purchased 9 tickets to the closing gala dinner, and she's purchased 7 rooms, 7 nights worth of rooms across multiple days for the hotel. So this is something that you can do. You can do this for travel as well if you wanted to. Group contacts and purchased inventory from you, and it's held against for future use by their group. So if you click on linking, you'll see that she has, a group all set up here under Franklin Simon, but she doesn't have any group members yet. So you could register folks lots of different ways in EventsAIR to bring in group members, but the group portal is really going to be a fantastic way to do so. So what we're going to do here is we're going to open up the group portal. Okay, in this group portal, you would send her a token link to open it up, and she can access this anytime she wants to manage her group. She can review her group inventory, so she can see everything that we have sold in the background. She can see all her room allocations, any travel, any functions, and any registrations, and how many have been allocated, and all her spend and everything else. Now, if she goes to group members, she doesn't have any group members here yet because she just needs to bring them in now. So she could add them one at a time by hand, easy to do, or she can invite group members to register on their own and join her group, or she can import group members through a spreadsheet. Again, what we do is we have an import management process. So Ms. Bay will go click on Import Group Members, and she has an automated process. Now this process is almost the same as what we've done in some of our other group management portals, so it's very straightforward. I'm sure you'll recognize this. She can download a template just by clicking here, and it'll download a template pre-populated, with the right drop-down fields, and it's structured for a perfect import. So we're going to open that up, and she's already filled out the names, and she's chosen regular registration and 1 ticket each for the gala dinner, and then she can go through and see anyone who wants a hotel rooms. So we're going to pick, we're just going to do 2 or 3 people for the hotel rooms. You can see what we're adding there, right? And we're going to go ahead and pull that across. I'm just going to make it a little bit easier. And then she can also go through and pick their check-in dates and check-out dates. Okay, just like that. They can be different days, straightforward. And then I'm going to go here at the very end and do this, pick checkout dates. We'll check them all out on the 10th. Okay, so she can go ahead and save this. There's one on the 9th. Okay, so we'll save this import here. I'm going to just save it and close it. Okay, and now she can come back here and she can upload her template. Okay, and it brought it in, and it'll show the names of everyone. It'll show all the assignments that have been made, and you can change them or delete them or whatever you need to do, and then she can import them. Okay, and they're brought in to the portal, nice and easy, and we can see now who she has. So from there, she can go through and make changes or deletions or cancellations, and she has lots of other actions. For example, let's say she wants to add a hotel room for Yanni Thompson. She can just choose him and add a hotel room and choose the check-in and check-out dates, and you can manually add just by hitting start here. So you can manually add, to a record just like that. And then you can just manage all the assignments from this one convenient portal. You also can do cancellations and confirmation emails, and you, of course, do all the other types of reporting and exporting of data, all from one convenient portal. So this is the group allocation portal, and it is a great new tool for our groups to use for managing, their personnel and their registrations and all the other details surrounding groups. The next thing I want to share with you is some enhancements to the project management tool. It's really a great enhancement. So what we're going to turn here first is to Gantt chart. You'll notice right away that some of the icons have moved around, and it's got a different layout. And if you go to Gantt chart, it's going to give you the same view as what we already have in the project manager. But there's 3 new views that you're going to find quite nice. One of them is grid view. So in the grid view, you'll see all of your projects, tasks, and subtasks listed over here. You'll have the same hamburger menu here with different task and editing, cloning, deleting buttons as usual. But now you're going to notice several major enhancements. First of all is you can edit in line. So you can just click here in the grid. You can edit project names. You can drop down and add new team members, status, progress, start and end dates. You can add notes all in line, so you don't have to jump back and forth to the actual panel. You can go here and edit things in line. Your reminders and your milestones and alert messages all can be edited in line. And then also quite nice is the fact that any types of custom items, custom fields that have been added to the project manager will also show in this grid, and you can also edit those in line. Very nice functionality, but it doesn't end there, folks, because we also have something I find quite exciting, and that is card view. So you have the ability of viewing all your projects, all your tasks, in card format. So this is by status, and you can see all the different statuses: not started, on hold, deferred, and you can drag and drop. Let's say site visit, we'll move that to in progress, just like that. So you have a card view for dragging things around. You can also double click on any of the cards to visit the actual task, the task window to see the details surrounding that task. And it's a great view, easy to drag and drop. The colors will be associated with your status as well. Or you can go to team member view, and you can see all of your different tasks, by team member assignment, and then you can drag and drop those to different folks. And all of these cards will show the task name, the team member, the dates, and the actual project name associated with it. So it's a great view to work with, very convenient. And then we're going to have the final view is going to be calendar view, and the calendar view is exactly what you would expect it to be. Let me go ahead here and go to 2021 June, and then you can see any tasks that are outstanding. You'll see them in calendar format, and you can see the date ranges. You can click on the name and drop down and view the details. Excellent, very nice. Now, before I show you something really exciting, I'm just going to jump over to Run Sheet and just show you that even though Run Sheet has some new placement of icons like project, it pretty much operates the same way, except that it does now offer inline editing as well, which is great. And also it's been enhanced with the ability of the custom fields that have been added to Run Sheet, where also will appear in this layout and be inline editable as well. Now, we're talking about projects and all that, but we've had a lot of folks asking for a global view of all projects across multiple events. So up here in the global area here, you'll see an icon called Project Overview. Click on that, and you'll now see all of your events. Okay, and if you expand your events, you can see all of the projects and tasks associated with a specific event. Inline editing, just like always, you can jump back and forth, and you can see all the different things you can edit and inline, and any custom fields will now appear in a pop-up window, so you can manage custom fields for this specific task or project for a particular event. And again, it is a global view of all of that. So you have the grid view, and you have the Gantt chart view as well. And what's also very nice is you have the ability of seeing just all the tasks, or you can just view your own personal outstanding tasks. So it's very functional, great way to work across multiple events. Now I'd like to share with you some of the smaller but also quite nice new enhancements to version 7.2. The first two I'm going to show you deal when you're adding data by hand in the back, using the attendee view, the attendee panel. And this happens a lot, and we've had a lot of folks ask for this functionality. So I'm going to hit add new contact, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to type a name. And when you hit tab, it'll automatically now check for duplicates before you can continue. So here you can either choose an existing contact record to finish your registration, or you can go through and add all the different details and add a new contact record. The next functionality right in line with this is auto organization copy. So if you're dealing a lot of data entry and you're working with the same organization and address for lots of different folks, when you type in an organization name and hit tab, it'll do a search now and show you any matching organizations. And when you double click on one of those, or select, it'll actually populate that, not only the company name, but the address details. It's just a short, little time saver in the area of data entry, but it's quite nice. Next, I'd like to share with you a new piece of functionality called Real-Time E-Commerce Gateway Refunds, and that's exactly what it does, is now you can issue refunds directly within EventsAIR through the e-commerce gateway. Not all gateways will support this. Most of them do. We will have a list of gateways that are supported, and if you have a gateway that is not on that list, just reach out to support, and we'll talk about working with the gateway to add that functionality. It's very straightforward, but we have quite many already set up this way. So here we have Mr. Becker, who's going to call you up and say, I need to cancel my early registration. That's fine. So, and he paid by Visa, by the way, so we're going to go refund to his Visa card. So we're going to mark that as canceled, always the first step on a refund, and it'll get a red line. Then we're going to go to the function area here, and we're going to go to new refund. So it's going to show his refunds. I'm going to just choose both of them, and we're going to come here and say we're going to refund to Visa, but now there's a new checkbox, process refund via gateway. Okay, so what happens, and this is a process you can't get around, is you have to refund against a previous receipt. It is just mandatory. So you do search, and you got to find a receipt. Now you can work with multiple receipts. Any receipt that has enough dollars in it, you can use that receipt, but there's only one here, and it's going to pre-fill it out with the details here and a description, and then you can go ahead and proceed to issue a refund. And again, you have to use an existing receipt, and there has to be an adequate amount of dollars to cover your refund. The nice thing is you can use the same receipt to do multiple refunds over time. As long as there are the money present in that receipt, you can choose any receipt and process a refund through the gateway. There's also a new user role that I should just point out as well. So if you go up here to Application Setup, go to Users, and I'm just going to pick a user. We're not going to save it. If you scroll down and scroll over to the very right here under Payments, scroll to the right, there's a new checkbox called Allow Gateway Refund Processing. It's a great new piece of functionality. I think everyone will be very excited to get their hands on that. Another new piece of functionality is future payments. So if you go to the online site and you go to the payment area, there's going to be a new checkbox under Payment that says future payments. And what that means is if any payment item like a registration fee or a function or accommodations or travel has a payment schedule attached to it, and if you check that box there, what it'll look like when they go through online registration now is when they go to the payment is it'll show as future payments. And that means they can either hit pay now, or they can check pay additional dollars on top of the $225 to go ahead and make an additional payment up to the full amount against his total amount due. So it's a small piece, but it's a very nice and functional piece of functionality. It's called future payments. Finally, I want to share with you a couple of enhancements around the invoice process in EventsAIR. So invoice notes is the first thing I'm going to share with you. If you go to Setup and go to Financial preferences, there's a checkbox for enabling invoice notes. And then the invoice note is exactly that. You can enter in a note specific to a person and their charge, and you just let you retain it on their invoice as a note. So if you go to early registration here, you see invoice note has been enabled because it's a payment area. There's a note about interdepartment transfers. No worries. I'm going to hit save and save that note. So now when it comes time to generate invoices, you click on financials, you hit invoices, and then when you preview it here, you actually will see the invoice note inserted in the body of that invoice. And if you scroll, you see right here, Mr. Becker wanted to pay this invoice with that note. So it is a great way of adding some notes to the invoice process. Now we have some clients who have asked us about having multiple invoice layouts. This is a great new feature that we've added. So if you go to the financial area, under preferences, this is where you can create you've always been able to modify the invoice layout, but now you can create up to 27 different layouts using invoice groups. There's a default and then there's group A through Z, and you can create different layouts for, like, you can have an exhibitor invoice, a supplier invoice, whatever it is, and you can assign them to different groups, and you can have as many different invoice layouts as you require. So folks, that is version 7.2. There may be a few additional items that will sneak in, but for the most part, that is the selection of enhancements, both large and small. I appreciate your time watching this video. We are always appreciative of you being part of our EventsAIR community, and we'll look forward to seeing you at a webinar, a user conference, or just chatting on the phone or email as time goes on. Thank you very much, and have a fantastic day.